What's up, everybody? I'm your host, Paul Sabo, and I'm joined by my co-host, the Lord himself, LordHam. We go live Friday evenings here at twitch.tv/punk with a controller. We record a podcast for you where we catch up with what we're playing, what we're watching. We break down what's up in the video games industry that week. And we end the show with a closing topic that gives you more insight into who we are as gamers. If you've missed any of the episodes, go over to youtube.com and check out all 23 episodes that are live currently. We also have my reactions to the PlayStation showcase that happened a few days ago. Also, go over to Jay's channel, twitch.tv/LordxHam. Show him some love, and please like and subscribe. Hit the notification bell to know exactly when we're going live, or follow us on all social media to get some behind the scenes on what we're talking about weekly. Quick reminder that it's September. Anyone can gift 20% off sub, or they could sub for 20% off. Quick reminder, you could also just link your Amazon Prime account and gift a free sub once a month to any content creator you want, and it really helps out smaller folk like us. Jay, God, I was so tired when you texted me, and I was like, I need to perk up, and I'm not a coffee person, so I went and got a couple cans of Celsius, that cocaine in a can, basically, and I chugged one, and now I'm ready. I'm ready. Let's do this. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I just ate a gummy.
Hell yeah.
I'm doing pretty good.
How was your week?
It was a good week. It was like long, but I went into this week with like a really good mindset, and I had some stuff to look forward to, and which made the week go by faster. And then today was the longest day. Worked a tenner, but I'm ready to just chill out, do the cast. Like that was like all day. I'm like, God, such a long day. This sucks. But there's like a prize at the end of the road.
There's a light at the end of the tunnel.
Yes, the grass is greener.
Yeah.
In my stream room.
My week was fine. I mean, it was just a normal work week. Nothing really out of the ordinary. I got a bunch of doctor's appointments coming up soon, so I'm not really looking forward to any of that. So I'm kind of just trying to be cool and trying to not, be frustrated and angry leading up to that, because I'm just gonna be that day anyways. So why not just save it all for that? But yeah, let's just get right into what'd you play, what'd you watch, what were some of the fun things you did this week?
Let's see. I guess I should start with saying new Valheim update. Hearth and Home dropped on yesterday.
You've been waiting for this one for a long time.
A long time. And I had people on Twitter like I was like, "Oh, I can't wait to stream this update." And they're like, "Oh, you're going to be streaming for like 10 minutes of content." And I was like, "Dude, that if it's 10 minutes of content, then I'm ready to come back and play 10 minutes of content," which it's not. They added a ton of new stuff. Ton, yes. I don't know. They kind of gave it a facelift. Everything's like in increments with like numbers now. Like there's number on your stamina bar, and there's number on your health bar, and the food and stamina and health have been completely overhauled. Like it's hard to find a balance with food now. Like if you're just like milling around your base building and stuff, like you need stamina to build and do like chop down trees and stuff. Like if you're just doing that, you stack up honey, berries, mushrooms, and they give you the most stamina. Meat only gives you 5 stamina. Meat is for health, fruit is for stamina now. So like when you're going out into the Black Forest, it's best to I'm just like I'm like, dude, like, do you want me to be completely full health and not be able to fight? Or do you want me to be able to fight with no health? Kind of deal. So I'm trying to like really figure that out. But they like changed it up to where like the deer drop a different kind of meat, like rib bones. Like they drop like deer venison ribs. So yeah, something new to eat there. What else did I find that was new? Coins. If you have 99 coins, you can make like a coin stack, like a tall stack of coins, and you could put anywhere. But if you have 999 coins, you could build like big ass coin hoard pile, like in your bedroom. But they just added a lot of stuff around the home, hearth and home.
Yeah.
Like new dark wood is a new thing, and you can make roofing like shingles and stuff. So you can finally have like a nice roof, not just like a straw thatch roof. You can actually have like shingled roof. Added an oven, a butcher's block table, like stuff like that. Added a new weapons apparently. Haven't found those yet. Um
So that's what this update was mainly, right? Was they added these more in-depth survival mechanics, and then just more aspects to the building.
they told everyone, they're like, don't like they literally came out, which by the way, they're the only dev team that I saw do something like this, but they did a podcast with the
Just real
devs,
quick, what's the name of their team again?
Iron Gate. They did a podcast to talk about the update, and it was literally like an in-game podcast of the three devs sitting around a fire in the Black Forest. And you can hear like the deer and like stuff in the background and the crows, and they just talked around a campfire saying like, check your expectations at the door, because this isn't gonna like completely change the game. Like, don't expect there to be new enemies, because they were explaining like, if we add a new enemy, we gotta add new drops. If we add new drops, we gotta add new recipes, we have to completely change the pacing, just everything. So they said that this was more like a large collection of updates. Like they updated the blocking system. There's like a blocking bar now. You can like see how good your block is. Stamina's fucking brutal. It is brutal. Like trying to swing a club is just at the rip is ridiculous. Um,
How far does the stamina effects go? Like, does it affect you in like weather as well? Like when if or have you gotten that? I'm sure you're not even that far yet. Because like I'm curious, like like in the mountains, like like when you go up
well,
there, is your stamina gonna be draining quicker than it would?
yes. And that was the thing, was they actually a big part of this update that not a lot of people knew was
I
that
bet
they
water is deadly now. Then.
well, yeah, yes it is, but they overhauled the mountains to make it more enticing to go up and make a base. Like they added a bunch of new um items. Like there's now food specific to the mountains, like certain kinds of fruit and stuff. And like I don't know, stuff like how you have to like bake the yeast before you bake the bread now, and like you gotta make the crust for the dough or for the pies before you make a pie, like stuff like that. Um, I don't know. It gave me an excuse to go back in, and we're doing like a Bacon Brigade server, so it's for like subs, mods, my VIPs, and my friends, and we started last night, and yeah. I mean, I mean, I've been playing it again for like 2 weeks now, but it's definitely giving me something to look forward to, because I'm just like still playing like, oh my god, wonder what's the next thing I'm gonna find that's new. So definitely worth going back in, starting a new character, starting a new map, and doing it from the beginning again. Definitely for sure.
Yeah,
Um,
I've what was it? We were talking, you were talking about sorry, I've been looking up these numbers since you mentioned that they, like people were kind of complain or they were saying, like don't expect much, and people were still complaining either way that they're, weren't adding a whole lot. And I was just, I remember the team being small, and I was curious on how much they are worth, and I'm trying to find their most recent evaluation, but the only websites I'm finding, you need to have have an account for, but I'm over at the Wall Street Journal where I can find their stock trade, and they've made over $100 million on the game so far, which is incredibly impressive. Um, their profit looks like it was about 45 million, and their expenses was 18 million, so that's a lot. But yeah, they're up this quarter, so that's good. And I was just really curious about that because the team who does Splitgate is small as well, and I just read that their most recent evaluation was for 1.5 billion with a B. Remember where that game was a
That's
year
because
ago?
yeah, well, that's because it's that was since the console release.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, they literally were like, dude, we like they're like, sorry about the queues, we don't know what to tell you. Like we expected to have like 13,000 people, but now we have like 150,000 concurrent players.
If I remember, like, wasn't it like a really quick takeoff? I don't remember it like coming to console and then it blowing up. I more so remember it coming to console and it was kind of just there, like on PC. But then, yeah, like after like a week or so, like over the weekend, I just saw like a bunch of people I follow, just like hey, I was bored and I hopped in this Splitgate and God, this game kicks ass.
I mean, I played it first 2 years ago,
It's been out for a while.
and then they like, I think that was like, I don't even know. Yeah, it was out, and then they had like a, I don't even know, dude. They just like, it's a good free to play game, and consoles and crossplay is exactly what blew it up.
So yeah, that's I mean, hell, fucking really good for them.
Even though their skins suck.
Yeah, no, that's rough. But hey, with this evaluation, maybe they'll be able to get a partnership and you'll be able to run around as some other licensed character like in Fortnite or something. Or what's the God,
Doubt it.
it's the game I started streaming. Fall Guys. Or like Fall Guys now, how they're getting licensed shit. But
Doubt it.
yeah, no, what else you play besides Valheim? That's a little tidbit from Jay on the update. Hearth and
Yeah,
Home.
you guys should go check it out. Valheim is on sale, 20% off up through the 19th.
And if you
So,
wanna, if you're nervous about starting or playing it on your own, go and give Jay a sub, and you can hop in his lobby.
also got YouTube videos for
There
like
you
the
go.
first 3 days you're playing. Um, and then what else? I didn't. That's the only video game this week. Um, except from no, I lied. I didn't put this on there. I probably dumped another like 13 hours into Divinity over the weekend on stream, which was a lot of fun. I was actually excited that there was a lot of people like stoked and asking about Divinity, and it's like if you go on Twitch, that game is in the top 50 games for categories like for watching. Divinity is like a super popular game to watch. I assume that that'll all stop once Baldur's Gate is done.
Yeah,
You know.
it's been in beta forever. I've had it in my wish list for basically since it went into beta.
But then that's a perfect interlude into my next activity of the week. I we did my personal first D&D session ever. Um that was a lot of fucking fun, dude. Like I ain't
how
even gonna lie.
how long did you guys play for?
Dude, we started around 7:30, got off around it was like 7 to 9, so like 2 hours. Basically, all we did was like talk to the DM, and we got our character sheets like in line and equipment in line to what's going on. And basically, he just railroaded us into a combat encounter to just um learn it.
Yeah, real quick, what did he specify which campaign you're doing? Did he say
It's a
you're
little
gonna
mixed. It's
Did
a
he say
little
you were
like
doing the starter like specifically the starter camp? Okay.
no. It's like a little bit of stuff that like he's pulled together, like some of his own,
Okay.
some of it's already written.
Yeah,
He's been DMing for forever. He's a really good DM.
for sure.
But
Yeah, I got I got Tyranny of Dragon where are my campaign books? Yep, they're
I
right
saw
there.
off the wagon where I got my book had the Baldur's Gate campaign.
Yeah, no, it's a pretty significant location in the game. Um,
But yeah, we're just in a what's the name of the town? I know it's a town that's in a lot of campaigns. Starts with a P. Fella Pan
Fel- Fandelvers.
Fandolin.
Oh yeah, Phandalin. Okay, yeah, no, I'm
Fandolin,
thinking of
yeah.
Phandelver's mine or cave or something like that. Yeah, no, Phandalin. That's like your main location in the starter campaign. So
Gotcha.
I wouldn't be surprised if he's pulling some of that in there, just because that is like kind of what gets you into everything.
Gotcha. Yeah,
Um,
we just were like railroaded into a combat simulation and we kind of chalked it up to like this will just be like a dream sequence kind of deal.
yeah,
Because like they were only playing with 3 people
that's what I was
and
gonna ask is how many people are in your party.
well now 5 and then a DM.
Okay.
So 5. So now like the dynamic, like everyone's really excited because there's a big group with a better dynamic, which almost all of us are magic casters. I think
Jesus.
I'm a sorcerer. Karina's a druid. We have a bard, a ranger, and then a gnome, wizard. And yeah, it was a good time. I rolled a nat 20 on my first roll ever, and then I got knocked unconscious. I went into dude, I just wanted to go and I'm like, I'm gonna run across the room and put my axe in this dude's head, but he took out 2 daggers and put me on the floor. I was rolling death saves the whole night. Karina, she so she's a druid. She turned into a wolf and ripped the guy's head off.
Yeah,
But it was good fun.
I
I
just love with D&D, I just love how much like I like I hope that your DM expresses the fact that you do everything and you can do whatever you want.
Oh,
Uh,
so here's an example.
I
The
was
the
gonna give you
three
an example, but yeah,
the
no, I want to hear
the
yours.
the 3 in the group have, chemistry already. Basically, one guy tried to steal. He was trying to steal some. Like he stole like some goats or something like that. And then the bard, buddy Andy, he uh he returned them. So like the ranger and the bard, they're like don't hate each other, but they bump heads. So like bard comes in through the door, but then ranger, he's like, I just want to like fucking knock him over and get in the room before he does. And he's like, all right, well, what do you want to do? He's like, first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to walk over to this table and pick up this guy's beer and just start drinking it and mean mugging this dude in the face. He ended up like jumping up on the table and doing a war cry for intimidation, then jumping off the table and stabbing a dude in the face. And and he's like, do I get height advantage? And it's like, oh, it's a table, so no. He's like, all right, well, when I kill him, I'm gonna throw him across the room. And he's like, well, like he rolled ass, and he's like, so you didn't throw him across the room, you just kind of slumped him on the table, like, so like we literally, yeah, like as I'm on the ground, I'm like, dude, I could have done this, I could have done this, I could have done this. Like I was like, I wish I would have just gotten up and thrown my axe across the room,
Yeah.
or just whipped a fork at a dude. Like, I don't know.
So like what like so the character that Ron created was a trans dwarf, but they weren't trans by their own choice, I should say. They were a dwarf that was kidnapped by a goblin and was mute, like had their, dick and balls cut off. And then they were kind of put in a dress and thrown out in the woods and left to die. Uh, so Ron's character in Spike wore the dress, like continued to wear it. He was a wizard dwarf, so kind of it kind of worked as like a cloak kind of gear. And his goal was every goblin we killed in the entire game, he would cut off their dick. And he had a neck, and he had a necklace of goblin dicks that he was walking around in. And so yeah, no, there was I would make, what was it? I would make him roll. I think he had to roll above a 5. I think that's like the easiest and like lowest roll that someone can make, or that you have to have make someone roll for a check. And I was like, and he's like, what happens if I don't? He's like, what happens if I roll a 4? I was like, don't roll a 4. I was like, you're rolling a 20-sided die. Odds are in your favor. Don't roll a 4. And yeah, I was waiting so long for him to roll. It took like 2 weeks, and he finally rolled a 2. And he was like, what? And then I just went into this dramatic speech on how, as you go to cut off the goblin's dick, your hand slips and you slice your hand. I was like, roll for damage. He's like, what the fuck? I was like, you cut your hand. You fucked up. So yeah, I mean, there's fun shit like that. He was, he was a dwarf, so I was just like, you can't drink that much. You have a few too many drinks and you get angry and you pass out real quickly. So yeah, he lost a fight to the local priest, and he passed out drunk in his own shit and piss in the alleyway. And then once everyone got into a fight outside of the tavern, and he finally woke up and went and joined. And I think it was James who picked him up, and he was covered in his own shit and piss, and he pulled out both of his axes, and James threw the dwarf Ron at the enemies, covered in shit and piss, swinging his axe. So yeah, I let him get some poison damage from the shit and piss, and then I let him get some, bludgeoning damage from the axes. So yeah, I got like, I miss playing it so much. Well, but is that what else you do? Is that it?
Oh, I started that Dungeons and Daddies podcast.
Oh yeah, you were telling me about that.
You'd love it. You would absolutely love it. Like on the title card, it says Dungeons and Daddies, not a BDSM podcast. And basically, it's literally about these group of people, their dads, like suburban dads, taking their kids to a soccer tournament. And all of a sudden, their Honda Odyssey goes over this hill and they get sucked through a portal. And the dads get like thrown into another realm of D&D.
This is a podcast?
This is a D&D podcast. Like listening to them playing this campaign that they made up from scratch. And their sons are sold into slavery, and they have to go find their sons, and like listening, like they're like, all right, so we go, you see that your son, the ex-Rockstar's dad, or the ex-Rockstar's kid is smoking a blunt. What do you do? Because the other dad, and the one dad's like, hey, can you put that out? Not around the kids. And he's like, all right, so I want to like take a puff of my son's blunt before I stomp it out. And he's like, all right, how dank is this? And he's like, well, roll a D20. And he's like, and he rolled a nat 20. He's like, all right, it is the dankest weed you've ever smoked in your life. So you don't know what the hell's going on. And like, dude, for the first time, I think in D&D history, they killed 2 dudes with a Honda Odyssey. Like, it's funny as hell.
Yeah, that sounds dope.
It's good shit. Like the DM apparently, like in one of the episodes, made a sporting event, made his own sport based off of soccer, and kicking and blocking, and at goalie, like you roll, dude, and they're like rolling against another team, and it's kind of like crazy. Instead of combat, they're playing a game of like soccer. Pretty cool. But yeah, that's my week. D&D filled.
Let's see here. So yeah, I didn't do too much either. Well, I did a lot of a couple things. Wu-Tang, American Saga, the Hulu series, season 2 started last week. Episodes every Wednesday. Just watched that before we started episode 4. God damn, it's such a fucking good show. Wu-Tang, they're the best. They ain't nothing to fuck with, and neither is that.
Your neck.
that show ain't nothing to fuck with either. And then there's that movie Malignant on HBO Max. I watched that like right after we recorded last week, and it's I like it, and I really like it, and then I don't really like it. Uh, kind of
Oh,
movie in the
shit.
sense of like it's really well shot. Like it is really well shot. There's some cinematography and some angles in this movie that I was straight up like multiple times. I was like, damn, that's a really cool shot. Damn, that's a really cool shot. But like near the end, like the third act, it like kind of drops all the horror aspect and it goes into like an action thriller.
Is it kind
Kind
of
of
like You're Next?
no.
You remember that movie?
Yeah. No, it's like there's a few scenes near the end where it is a straight up action movie. There's like there's this one fight scene that's like one of the coolest fight scenes I've ever seen. It's insanely fucking violent and a lot of cops are dying. So it's a really dope fight scene all in all. But just like in the plot was really fucking weird. It like the twist was insanely creepy and really cool and I don't know, nauseating, I guess, because it was gross as shit. But because I don't want to spoil anything, but no, I mean the overall plot was kind of just weird. It didn't really make any sense. Like this person's a ghost, but they're not really a ghost. I don't know. I didn't really get how it worked. But I had
Weird.
fun. I had fun watching it. I'm happy it's on HBO Max and I didn't have to pay to
Yeah,
go see it.
I forgot to mention I watched Fear Street.
Ah,
All,
yes.
all 3 parts.
Yes.
Good
Very,
shit.
very, very good. Yeah,
I appreciate that it knows what it is.
that 1994 one, like the whole movie essentially. I was just like, I was like, this is good. Like, I'm having fun watching this. But that last like 15, 20 minutes, I want to say no spoilers, I want to say right when they get to the grocery store and then everything happens, I was like completely got caught off guard. Like entirely. I had no idea all of that was going to happen
Yeah,
in the
that was
span of like 5 minutes. And then they go back home and then even more crazy shit happens in the kitchen back home.
mhm.
And yeah, and
That
then
was like one of like one of the first horror movies in a while where we're watching and the grocery store scene happens. Let's just say the deli. And like, no! Like, are
yeah,
you
right?
kidding me? Like,
Right?
what? Like, really?
Something was going to happen
I know
between
I was
them. Come
yeah, I
on.
was like, "Oh my god, I can't believe they just."
And then it ends on a total cliffhanger. It gives you like a little teaser trailer for the sequel. And I'm like, I'm all in. You got me. I am sold. And like from that point, I went in really high on the series. And I kind of like it did have a decline for me. Like, don't get me wrong, I really liked the second movie. Like, the camp
You know,
aspect, the slasher aspect, the
that
s-
camp
the
was used in a
satanic.
Friday the 13th movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, like the satanic, ritual themes and everything. It had literally all of that. And I'm like, like this is good. This is cool. I'm enjoying this. And then the third one, don't get me wrong, really good, really
It
cool,
was
but
the worst one out of the 3.
yeah, but it's not saying that that's bad in any ways because it was still dope as
Right.
all hell. Um, but yeah, no. So yeah, Malignant, it was okay. Ted Lasso. This season seems to be, I've, kind of just been letting this one slide because, I don't really know what else to say. I just love the show so much. And this season seems to be like really divisive amongst a lot of people. I've seen a lot of people who just straight up like are saying like, man, I guess Ted Lasso was like a one trick pony. That first season was all they had. And I kind of like got where they were coming from because the great thing about Ted Lasso is it has this dark undertone to it that's kind of always there looming and would affect the rest of the show and, lower level ways that you kind of had to pay attention to. And it was really well written and really good. And I feel like a lot of people maybe just, I don't know, This second season is 12 episodes instead of 10, and episodes are longer in runtime as well. So it's just a longer season in general. And the first like 5 episodes, I'd say, they were all pretty much just like, happy go lucky, almost zero dark undertones at all. And people are like, all right, they're clearly leaning into what people criticized the first show for, which was being an incredibly positive, really awesome, just dope show. And they're just doing only that now. Awesome. This is kind of lame because we all like those dark undertones. And then these last like 4 episodes have just been fucking, they've been sad. So yeah, and then also heartwarming, as it's what the show is. So I think I personally love it. This last episode is probably my least favorite out of the series, just because it felt like filler. Which
For a
isn't.
finale?
No, this was only episode 9. There's still 3 more episodes left. But yeah, I mean, this episode was just kind of filler. Like, it felt like something that would normally be like a side plot in another episode where they would be cutting back to back between this and like something else happening. But really, it was just, one night of this dude out for 45 minutes. And then most importantly, what I was probably going to talk about here for a couple minutes, Deathloop. So yeah,
Any good?
I got Deathloop on Tuesday. That was when it launched. Is the new Arcane game. They are owned by Bethesda, who is now all owned by Microsoft, and it's a PlayStation exclusive. And you might have, heard of the game because of the million upon billions of trailers and gameplay that was out prior to the game's release. But then also because I think it's still sitting at an 88 on Metacritic. I'm just going to double check here, which is, easily one of the biggest games of the year.
Insane.
Yeah. And so far, it's getting me. Yeah, it's sitting at an 88 still. And how many reviews is it out of? It's out of 92 critics, so it's staying at an 88. 10 rated critics would have to give it zeros for it to drop down, anything substantial. So yeah, it's going to be at 88. It's really good. So, but it's really good. It's really confusing at the start and pretty overwhelming. Just because there's a lot of systems at play and you got to use your time very carefully. And I perhaps spent my time too carefully in the opening, because the elevator pitch for this game is it's a first person shooter and it's a time loop based game, and they didn't really market it clearly enough, where basically, you're stuck on this island and you have one day to kill these 8 people. And they didn't really explain too much behind that and how the actual time loop works. So basically, you do like a tutorial of a day, and you aren't really told that. Like the first 2, I want to say almost 3 days, you are very much on a leash, and they are clearly just guiding you through this game. I only recently just got to a part where I'm like kind of looking around. I was like, am I done? Like, am I done with like shit popping up? Can I like go and actually explore? And I think I'm there. And how it works is there's 4 maps and there's 4 times of day. There's morning, noon, afternoon, and evening. And you have 8 people you have to kill, and you're sitting there and you're looking at that. And then you're also looking at your list of the people who you have to kill and the locations that they're at. Not like exact locations, but just which of those 4 maps they're at. And most of them are all like, on 2 maps, but they're never there at the same time of day. So one of the things you got to do in the game is just go and explore and just find notes and read shit and interrogate, and you'll get the information that you need to find out that these 2 people actually meet down here at noon. So you're like, okay, those 2 guys I kill at noon. Who do I kill in the morning? And like that's kind of what you're doing throughout the whole game is just exploring these areas and, you know, trying to figure out how you kill them in this order. And that's kind of where like I was really confused going in and there was bad marketing. Like I like the whole time I'm creeping around, I'm going stealth, but then I'm also going a lot faster than I want to because I'm like, is this day gonna end? Like, you know, like I'm in the morning right now. Is it gonna change to noon? And then what happens? Am I kicked out? Like, what's going on? Am I just here until noon now? What's happening? Whereas no, you start in your kind of little cave area, and then you choose which map you want to go to, and you choose which time you want to go there. And you can only go there once, I believe. I don't know. I haven't gotten that far yet because I kind of fucked up yesterday. And the whole time you're doing this, there is a online player whose name is Juliana, and she will anytime you are in a map where there is a person who they're called variants or uh, varieties. I think they're called varieties. I can't remember. I think they're varieties, the people who you have to kill. Anytime there's a variety on a map, Juliana is going to be there. So if you're in that map for long enough, she's going to lock the doors so you can't leave, and then she's going to hunt you down. And then it's basically just a quick game of PvP. And very intimidating. Very intimidating, because if she kills you and you die, you go back to the start of the game. You go back to the start of day one, and you got to start that loop over. Now, I know that sounds like it all sucks, like the starting over, and it did suck for a while, but there's a character who they have you kill in the tutorial who gives you this ability to absorb this material called residium. And it's found just glowing in, like a glowing book will have residium on it. And then when you kill one of these varieties, they will have they'll have like 10,000 residium on them. And then what you do is they're kind of like souls in Dark Souls games, whereas you take those back to your little hub, you know, safe area, and then you can use those and infuse those into weapons that you want to keep, slabs, which are like abilities like teleporting and going invisible, stuff that you get from killing the varieties because they all each have one of their own. And you can infuse those with this iridium shit, and you will be able to take it over to the next loop. And that's what I did this last game was, you know, I infused these 2 good guns. So those, you know, those guns are mine. But then I got kind of greedy at this last map, and there was this giant like science experiment happening, and there was an antenna next to it. And I pulled out my radio and I hacked the antenna, and this gate opened up, and there was a red, blue, green, and yellow wire. And I had the option to cut any of them. And I didn't find any notes. I have no information on this thing or anything. And I'm like, I ain't touching that thing. And I went kind of around the rest of the map exploring. I killed the, you know, lady I had to kill who was there. And then as I'm leaving, I'm looking at it. I'm just like, what's the worst that can happen? And keep in mind, I just killed the variety, and she had an insane new assault rifle that was really dope. And I'm like so hyped I got it, and I got the new slab off of her. So I'm like, you know, like win, got 10,000 residium, killed everyone in the place. So I'm running around with like 30,000 residium. And I'm like, what's the worst that can happen? So I cut the green wire. The security system kicks in, all the security gates close, and I'm locking the building. And now there's a percentage counter on the thing going up. And I'm like, uh-oh. So, I just book it out of I'm running around. And like, I guess there must have been something in the game where once you click one of those wires and it fucks up, that like it spawns a bunch of enemies. Because trust me, when I say I cleared out this warehouse and there was now enemies everywhere, and I am just running all over this place trying to find a way out. I die twice, and you can die I have a slab to where you can die 2 times, but on the 3rd time, that's game over. So I'm running out the front door. I finally found an exit, and it's at 90%. And I run out the exit, and I'm thinking that I just have to get out of the building. Like, that's all. I was like, I don't even know what's going to happen. I just have to get out of the building. And I get out of the building, boom. There's like 15 guys there. And I'm sitting there with like no fucking health. And I just pull out that assault rifle and I go to town. And Yeah, I made it far enough away from the building, but it turns out the entire map blows up. Yeah. So I died indefinitely, and I got booted back to the beginning. And I'm like, all right, well, that's the end of that stream.
It sounds almost as like overwhelming as Dishonored. I'm not gonna lie, I don't know if it's because it's dated, but
It's from the people who made Dishonored.
I know. I don't
Um,
know if it's because it's dated, but I did not like Dishonored.
I mean, it's similar level design, because Dishonored's level design was very well crafted, and it's crafted, just as well, but in a different way, in the sense of you go to Updam in the morning and you go to your apartment and there's a safe there, but you can't remember the combination. This is the start of the game. You can't remember the combination. And you got to go out, you got to go to this other location, and you find a piece of paper that's, left for you from someone, and it has the combination. But now at this point in the game, it's the afternoon, because you went to that place at noon, got the, piece of paper that has the safe code, and then now it's afternoon for you to go back to Updam. So you go back to your apartment in the afternoon, and your whole place is now completely ramsacked, and the safe is broken into, and the book that whatever you were going in the safe for is gone. So you're like, for me, I was like, well, fuck, what do I do now? And I was like, well, shit. And then I just killed myself and went through the loop. And then it cut over to morning, and then I went back to Updam, and the day restarted. So the safe was still there, my house wasn't ransacked, and then
And
I put
the code now.
Yes. So then I put in the code, and then I got what was
Kind
in
of
the
like
safe
12 minutes.
Yes. But way better structured and a lot more profit going into it. So yeah, it's getting its hooks in me. It's like a hook with a worm, and I see you.
Basically, the two things I heard was that it's a game where you have to master its systems that it's got going on, and once you master them, it's an amazing game. And I also heard the score is very good.
The score is incredible. The voice acting is insane. I love the art design. The graphics are okay. Gunplay is fine. It's, not anything I'm going to, come to you and be like, dude, this gunplay is like next level. The story is kind of just whatever. I'm not really that heavily invested in it. Like Cole and Juliana's like history. I'm kind of picking up what's going down. I'm just more so invested in like what this place is and how it kind of got to be this. But other than that, it's starting to get me. I just, need to get it. I need to fully get there. And why people are giving it 10 out of like why it's getting so many crazy reviews. I think it's just because we haven't seen a AAA game
Do something new.
Yeah, I mean, excluding Death Stranding, like a AAA game like this, like still appealing to people. Like, Death Stranding, being a delivery man is not appealing to the masses.
No offense, don't need to like hate on Death Stranding. I've done enough of that, but like there is not a single appealing factor, and not even Norman Reedus can appeal me to that game.
Oh, I mean, like my whole thing is like I would tell you to go and look up like just spoiler videos for Death Stranding, because there is like cool shit in the sense of there are these time warping storms that appear. The first one happens at the end of chapter 3, and you get sucked into it, and it teleports you back to a different like a time warped World War I and just war in general, to where like you're Norman Reedus wearing your fucking Death Stranding gear, but you are crawling through the trenches of like this insane World War I combat trench warfare happening. But like tanks are just like kind of spawning in and like wreaking havoc and then disappearing into like squids. I don't know. It's wild. Like I really like look up Death Stranding World War I, Death Stranding World War II, Death Stranding Vietnam. And like just watch all of those segments, because I mean Mads Mikkelsen is who you're fighting throughout those whole things, and all of the cutscenes for that shit is just insane. It's insane. God, I can't wait for that. That's next week. Oh, I got so many games next week. So that's about all I have to say on Deathloop, I want to say. Yeah, like I said, it's a very original AAA game that's not been done before, and I think that's why it's again, maybe the campaign or the narrative is appealing to a lot more people, but the score is incredible. It is fun to play. The voice acting is great. Art design's awesome.
You know what's sad? This is what's sad is that like when you say like it's the first AAA that's done anything new in a while, and that's why it's getting a 10. There's kids nowadays that play video games that don't know what that was like.
Well, it's
From like, if
you
know what I no, hang on, like you know what I mean though. Like back when we were little,
well, I just want to
every
clarify.
new game.
I said no
was-
AAA games, like not or no. Or
That's all I'm talking about here.
Yeah.
AAA titles. Like we came from a time where like all these kids are like, "Whoa, Dead Space! Oh my god!" And it's like, dude, I remember when Dead Space came out, and that game was terrifying because no one played a game like that before. Or like same with other shit they're renewed. Like I always go back to one game, Psyops, Mindgate Conspiracy on the Xbox. Because like you could do, it was just the mechanics to that game were just wild, and it was an original story, and it was like a new thing, and like god damn it, developers don't do that anymore. We're gonna get like Fallout 6 before we get anything new. Starfield, yeah, but
Yeah, there you go. All right.
God, it took them long enough. Jeez.
We're almost an hour into the show, so let's fucking get into some news here. So I actually added 2 new segments to the show. One is corrections, just stuff that I realized I fucked up from the episode prior that I just want to, I want to correct myself on. And a little other segment called TidBits, where they're smaller news stories that I don't feel like I need to write an entire, summary of the article for. And it's just something we could just, talk about quickly and just run through. So real quick in the corrections, last week when we were talking about Sony acquiring Firesprite, and I was, saying they're a 250-person studio and how big that is, and I was trying to give you context, and I was saying studios like Guerrilla and Naughty Dog are like 1,000-person strong studios. They're not that big. I looked recently, Guerrilla's at about 500, Naughty Dog's at about 700, Sony Santa Monica's at about 500, and Insomniac's at about 500. So, but context, this team is about half the size of Insomniac. So that's a big team. So yeah, I just want to clarify on that. And then also, GTA 5 remake. I
Don't call it a remake.
Yeah, by the way the trailer was set up, I thought that the game was still slated for March 11th or November 11th, 2021, and that online got bumped until March 2022. But I was wrong, and the whole game is delayed until March of 2022.
I just keep reading articles of people going, I don't even want to freaking hear that name anymore. Like, no, like, I don't care if I'm, like, speaking for anyone else. Rockstar, no one cares. If you're gonna make it that much better, at least show that off in the trailer. I literally feel like it's 2013.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to find it right now because it was going around. I was gonna do one myself, but there is no way I could have fit everything into my list. So I've been seeing this trending amongst some other content creators, and I saw this mainly from Shinobi602. Go and follow him on Twitter. He's got all the inside info. He said, since Grand Theft Auto 5 launched 8 years ago today, I have had 3 kids, bought a house, graduated from university, entered my 30s, held 4 different jobs. And hey, it's launching again in a few months. And then this Greg Miller tweeted out, since Grand Theft Auto 5 launched 8 years ago today, I have moved, quit my job, started a company, won a game award, won an SXSW award, moved again, gotten married, moved again, hired a best crew for our team, became a dad, and hey, it's launching again in a few months. Like, yeah, dude.
I could do that too. Like,
Yeah, no, I was
we
about
all
to say,
can do that.
yeah, my
like,
list would be absurdly long because I was going back, I was like 2013, I was like, okay, yeah, I was 18 or yeah, I was 18 years old.
I was
That's
17. I'm 20. We're 25. I was 17 when that game came out. God, people
so
need
yeah,
to
it's
let this.
completely
And
absurd.
there's kids that were born that are playing this game now that were born after the 360 generation or
Yeah,
just on the end.
it's the most disliked PS5 game trailer on YouTube
Not
right
even a
now.
trailer. There's nothing new.
All right. And
And
then I got a little question here for you. I saw this trending and I wanted to kind of bring it up. This is I should have put this in quotes because this isn't me saying this. This has just been kind of going around. Why is it okay for Sony to show CGI trailers and not Xbox? Um, Basically, like what people are having issues with is the idea that at Xbox's E3 showcase they showed Avalanche's next exclusive game, Contraband, and it was a CGI trailer. They showed Redfall, Arcane. We just, talked about
I
them.
already have an answer.
They showed Arcane's game, and that was a CGI trailer. There might have been one more. I know people always say Starfield. Starfield was running an engine. Was
Halo
it?
always had the CGI trailers.
No, Halo's was running an engine. I remember that. It was Master Chief like jumping through. It was a cinematic, but it was running in engine.
I think the reason why Sony doesn't catch flack for CGI trailers is that their games damn near look like the CGI trailers. It's quality. We know it's going to be quality. We know Sony's not hiding anything from Last of Us, Uncharted, Ratchet and Clank. There's just so many games where like they're untouchable in the sense of like if you show us a CGI trailer Uncharted game, we're gonna buy it. We're gonna be stoked. We know it's gonna be quality and we know it's gonna be good.
They
Like
did that. I mean, they did that. The initial announcement trailer for Uncharted 4 was Nathan Drake kind of like passed out on the beach in the middle of the night with like, the water washing up on him. And he stands up and picks up his pistol and it goes. The Last of Us Part 2 was announced with a CGI trailer. It was Ellie like playing a guitar and, alone in some abandoned house and
it's because
Joel walks in and
like I said, like, but their games reflect that.
well,
I
that's the thing is there's more to be excited for in the sense of I mean, despite the massive leak for Redfall that came out this week, where actually it made me super excited for it, where they're basically just like, yeah, it's Borderlands, but it's made by Arcane and it's you versus vampires on like, the Pacific West. And I'm like, or on the East Coast somewhere green on the water. I'm like, that's fucking awesome. With Arcane's, art style and direction. I'm like, that's, all right, cool. Count me in. I'm down. But before that, I was just like, I hate CGI trailers because I don't know what this game is. I don't know what this represents. If Arcane was teasing with a CGI trailer, just some other new IP that was like single player that was similar in vein to a Deathloop or a Dishonored, that would have almost gotten me more excited than Redfall because I would have an idea on what I'm getting. Whereas the Redfall trailer, I'm just like, all right, so there's clearly multiple people. There's 4 people here. So this is this co-op? Is there a single player option? Is this going to be some kind of, Destiny kind of thing where, it's a like there's a hub world and shit. Like I just had so many questions from it. When Insomniac rolled up with Wolverine, I had no questions. One, it's fucking Wolverine. That's alone. That alone is really cool. And yeah, 2, it's Insomniac, one of
and
the most
3,
trusted.
Sony.
Yeah, one of the most trusted developers in games.
I think
Um,
I
in
think
my
that
opinion.
that's a big reason is like Sony does it so well. And I also think that could be a reason why Sony doesn't really fuck with first party multiplayer games. There's too much to worry about when they shift all their quality to this one experience. They can really give you what they want to give you.
Well,
Like
they're gonna do that with multiplayer this generation. They are very, very heavily investing in multiplayer this generation. They've already
I'll believe it
gotten
when I see it.
they've already acquired 3 studios that are openly
That that
working
that,
on multiplayer shooters.
that don't mean shit. I'll
And
believe it
then
when I
I
see it.
mean, like, are we talking multiplayer in general or multiplayer shooter specifically? Because
In general. In
okay, because
general.
a lot of speculation that Spider-Man 2 is going to be co-op multiplayer. You know, one
That
person
that but
plays as Peter, one person plays as Miles. Uh, I'm just I'm just saying. And then also
that would
there's
be terrible, by the way. I would hate that.
depending on, I wouldn't really mind if it doesn't
I'd
affect
like to swap back and forth, but
if it doesn't affect my single player experience, it doesn't really matter for me. Um, and
Sony
then
know Sony knows better than to make a live service Spider-Man game. So
well, and then there's also Last of Us Factions. That game is going to be so much bigger than people are thinking it is. A lot of people are thinking it's just going to be an add-on expansion. Enchilada's getting you.
no, no, no. That was for Last of Us Factions.
Oh, fuck you. I thought you farted or something. No, Last of Us Factions, they're doing something really big with it. We've heard rumors that they're doing a Tarkov style game for it. So, I mean, we'll see, but I mean, Guerrilla, I've been saying for years that they got the director for Rainbow Six Siege in 2018 and he is directing his own game. Like he's directing an unannounced shooter. It's just,
It's just gonna be called Patriots. Oh, all right.
What if? Okay, so yeah, let's get on to these tidbits I got here. We're just gonna brush through all of these really quick, and you can tell me which ones stand out to you. Randy Pitchford over at Gearbox confirmed a new Brothers in Arms is in the works. Battlefield 2042 has been delayed a month to November 19th, with beta set to start on October 6th for those who pre-order, and an open beta will start on the 8th. The Switch finally has Bluetooth support after 5 years, and the PS5 software update finally fixes trophies. Jay, any of these you want to just touch a note on?
Oh, we're gonna touch a note on Brothers in Arms, boy.
I
I remember when they.
just don't even
Hey,
attempt to do what you did with 4.
hey, yeah, they almost fucked it up.
It's
And
so funny how much they just reskinned that into that Battleborn game. Like if you go and because you could still see that trailer for Brothers in Arms 4 and Montana. He's in Battleborn. Like he's the same guy in everything, same character design and everything.
I've
Um
never even heard of Battleborn.
oh yeah, Battleborn was a terrible game. That was
Sounds terrible. That's a terrible name for a game. Battleborn. Lame.
it was like imagine a hero style shooter game like Smite or Overwatch or something like that, but it's only PvE.
Ew.
Yes.
I'm good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm pretty excited. Could you imagine a Brothers in Arms game made nowadays?
I mean, you're gonna have to prove to me that you're gonna have to prove to me some shit. And then also, I don't really trust Randy Pitchford. He's been honestly saying that Brothers in Arms has been coming back for a really long time, like years actually. So take what he says with a grain of salt is what I'm saying.
All right, well,
Battlefield 20, yeah,
yeah,
Battlefield 2042. What was it?
it is what it is.
Jeff Grubb, I think it was on Monday, he tweeted out, prepare for a pretty major delay this week. Another reason why I hate Jeff Grubb, because then Andy Robinson, dude, he's the homie, he posted an article over at VGC saying lots of reports that Battlefield 2042 is going to be getting delayed. And I'm like, shit. I was like, if you go to February, I'm going to I'm throwing hands if you're going to February,
They won't even-
2022. And yeah, no, and then Wednesday they delayed it by a month. Not a big deal. I honestly, I'm
Dude,
kind of
just put that extra wax coat
for
on
sure,
that game,
exactly.
dude.
Yeah, like there a lot of people were like, like, oh man, this game's doomed. Like, holy shit, they can't even, like they can't hit the day, like blah blah blah. They got all these teams working on it. What was it? The director of the game commented on. He's just like, no, we want to make sure this game launches as best as it possibly can. So,
Dude, I'm all for delays unless you're Cyberpunk. When you don't have anything to show for your delays, that's when it's an issue. But I think Battlefield, I bet the one thing that they're fixing right now is they are to a T making sure that those servers are ready to go.
yeah.
By the beta. Like that's because like that plagues every Battlefield game. The servers at launch. Every time.
And then they also, going off one of our news stories, sometimes your beta can really make or break how your community's going to look at your game. We'll get into that a little bit later. But let's just get into these stories real quick because we're already an hour in and I want a cigarette so badly. Story number one.
I got you. Here you go.
Oh, God. Geforce sprung a leak. A recent leak that occurred Monday seemed to indicate that a lot of unannounced titles and anticipated sequels were on the way and also coming to PC. It featured word of PC ports for previously console-exclusive titles and more, as first spotted on Reddit software developer Igor with an H, Ighor. Igor July performed a data mine of NVIDIA's GeForce Now database, and in doing so, discovered listings for a lot of unannounced games, sequels, ports, and more. Jay, I'm just gonna click over here and pull up this fucking link and see what kind of games we got because there is an insane amount.
Really?
Yeah. Let's see. On Sony's end, Uncharted Legacy of Thieves Edition, we already have that confirmed. Helldivers 2, Horizon Forbidden West, Gran Turismo 7. That game I don't even know how to pronounce. God of War, Returnal, Demon Souls, Ratchet and Clank, no specific game. Sackboy Big Adventure, Ghost of Tsushima. And then it says, in parentheses, no Bloodborne, Spider-Man, or The Last of Us, Last Guardian, Gravity Rush, etc., unless listed above. Microsoft, you got Gears of War 6, Oxide, unannounced. Fable, according to Jez, Project Holland is what that was called. Project Typhoon, that's Contraband, according to Jez. I'm thinking they're assuming, yeah, Jez Corden. Okay. Project Woodstock is something Forza. Untitled The Initiative game, Halo 5 Guardians, Avowed, Kalimba, Indus, I don't know what any of those are, and Gravity. Square Enix, we got Chrono Cross Remastered, Final Fantasy Tactics Remastered, Final Fantasy VII Remake for the PC, Final Fantasy IX Remake in general, Final Fantasy XVI, Tomb Raider Anniversary Edition, unannounced title by Square Enix, and Kingdom Hearts 4. And I mean, it just keeps going on. Let me see if there's anything else. Take Two, we got GTA 3, Vice City, just all the GTAs remastered. BioShock remastered, and BioShock 2022, just a new BioShock, who knows? We got an Untitled Respawn game. We got Titanfall 3, Crisis 4, just a shitload. Half-Life 2 remastered. And this is just a handful. There, you could go and look into it yourself. There's so many, and NVIDIA, with them acknowledging it, essentially confirmed it with how they phrased it, where they said, the games listed don't represent something. I'm just like, all right, well, you said the game's listed, you're confirming that these games exist. What about, did you see this one at all this week? What's your take on it?
I have not. This is news for me.
Yeah, this is massive. This is a massive fuck up on NVIDIA's end. And their statement did not really help themselves out too much. I don't know. It's a little upsetting that we get, like, I mean, for fuck's sakes, if we got a Chrono Cross remastered trailer or a Final Fantasy Tactics remastered trailer at like Tokyo Game Show at the end of this month, I would flip my desk. But now that I know that that's probably coming, I don't really have any word. Is Activision on here? Because no, oh wait, no. Yeah. I mean, this list just keeps going. Because they did say Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 remastered, and Activision came out and openly said that that's not real. That's not being made. And I also believe
Game's hot trash.
I also believe recently 343 came out and said Halo 5 is not planned for PC at all. So that could maybe just be them covering their tracks. Activision, they're currently in a lawsuit for a lot of abuse allegations, so I'm assuming they are no strangers of lying. And then also, I mean, Microsoft, they said, oh, Fable, or like when the Fable account on Twitter got reactivated and everyone noticed, they're like, oh, yeah, no, that's nothing. That ain't nothing. And then, yeah, like by the end of the year, Fable remake was announced. So I wouldn't take either of what they say too seriously, but I would also take all of this with a grain of salt. And MGS2 and 3 remake, no shot in my opinion, is what he has in his parentheses. God! I just need it so badly, Jay. You have no idea. So yeah, we'll see where that goes to see if there's any updates on that. Story number 2, we got details on the Wolverine. With the confirmation of a Wolverine game by the talented folks over at Insomniac, a lot of questions and, depending on who you are, concerns have been raised. Well, with the power of the internet, why not just ask them? Recently, after the announcement, a Twitter user asked the now confirmed director of the game, Brian Horton, if it will be a full-sized game or a Miles Morales-sized game. Apparently, the dude needed to know. He followed up with a reply saying, I need to know, Brian, get back at me. I imagine to the shock of the user that Brian Horton replied, confirming that it will be a full-length game with a mature tone. Considering the history of previous Logan standalone comics, it should be no surprise that this game sheds a drop of blood or two. What do you want to see from a standalone, mature-toned, full-length Wolverine game?
This is what I want. Dope stealth sections. Dope stealth play. Because it ain't like Spider-Man. We're not going to be able to swing up to the top of the Empire State Building. You know what I mean? It's got to be grounded. Grounded combat. No ridiculous bullshit. Gadgets, gizmos. Like, I literally want Logan with his claws, and I might be able to activate, like, a rage mode. Other than that, I don't want any, like seeing Miles Morales with, like, electric shock charges and shit. That just, like, or, like, in the Spider-Man 2 trailer, Spidey with the fucking big ass.
Yeah.
Fuck off with those gadgets,
like,
dude.
That's something that they're going to have to figure out is how do you keep just the claws entertaining? What I would imagine
like they did in the old games.
Well, here's my picture. Here's my image for what the Wolverine game would be. What I would want it to be. So yeah, no, like you said, I don't want to be able to have shock claws or like whatever, but I would like to upgrade my combos to where I do more damage and maybe my claws do cooler kills, cooler things. And then how do you keep that gameplay, engaging without,
I think
what you do is you do what Ghost of Tsushima did, where you include multiple different fight styles
that you need to say, like
that you need to use to change up on enemies. A big brute guy comes at you, so you got to use brute stance. You got to get like that to fight that dude. But then coming from behind you is a guy with a bat, so then you got to go into melee stance, and like that's how you.
I was thinking like you have stealth, berserker, and then just like something like a brawler type deal, right?
Yeah.
But I remember back in X2, Wolverine Unleashed, you had different senses. Like you could see blood trails on the ground.
Yeah.
And then while you were in that stealth sense mode, you could go on all fours. Yeah.
I don't know if I want the all fours.
But
Well, like
it was still pretty cool.
what I'm thinking, because I'm thinking, well, what I want is, Wolverine's different. He doesn't
Oh,
really,
real
he
quick,
doesn't,
I want executions.
sure. He, he does, like, Insomniac are perfectionists when it comes to traversal. And Wolverine isn't really known for traversal. Like, he's got some leaps, but like those are more so leaps to kill versus leaps to get from point A to point B. So what I'm thinking is instead of doing the Spider-Man route where you go, full open world, you do the Insomniac route, or not the Insomniac route, obviously, the Ratchet and Clank route, where you got this small, not platformer but more like smaller Yakuza maps, in the sense of you got this small, like section, like a lot of people pointed out in that trailer that the bar he's at is a bar from Madripoor, which is, like, it's kind of like the Mos Eisley's of the Marvel universe. Just a lot of bad shit goes down there. That's where all the bad dudes hang out. So, like, like, what if, and then there's that Hulk Easter egg we were talking about. So, like, what if Madripoor is one of the locations that you could go to, and like, you go there to track down the Hulk or something, and you have that whole area to explore, and then you could go, somewhere else. And I was thinking, with Spider-Man and those the fast travel when you go on the subway, like, Insomniac was so good with transitions, and in Ratchet and Clank, when you decide to leave the world, like that you want to go and explore another planet, you would hop in your ship and then you would pull up the map and then you would, go to the other one. Like, my mind's just racing, like, Wolverine is associated, like, him and his motorcycle are like, hand in hand. I'm thinking, like, you leave the map, you go and hop on your bike. And then it cuts to, like, Wolverine, like, like sitting at his bike with, like, just an unfolded map. And then you choose which spot you want to go to. And you go there and you do your shit. And fuck yeah, dude, it is violent as shit. It is.
Like I'll never forget the first time I saw Logan in the opening scene when they tried jacking him for that caddy, and he stabs that dude, and his claws go right up through his mouth, and you see his claw through his mouth. He's like,
Yeah.
I was like, yes.
Yeah, they knew how to start that movie.
That was so brutal, dude.
I mean, I watch so much shit. Like, if I included everything I watched, like, in a week, we would just have an hour-long boring conversation of everything I watched. I did watch Logan this week. I watched the noir version because that's the way to watch that movie.
Which one? The black and white version?
Yeah, dude, it's so dope. So yeah, mature toned. That to me, I'm like, going off of that trailer, like, I feel like that essentially confirmed it's a mature tone. He just kicked the shit out of all of these dudes in the bar.
Killed these dudes.
We're assuming because this other dude's coming up on him with a knife. So, like, and it was a dark toned trailer. So, like, I want some sort of cross between, like, Ratchet and Clank exploration, but with a Last of Us tone. Maybe not that dark, but you know where I'm getting at. I can't fucking wait for that one.
It'll be good. I guarantee it'll be another Spider-Man 2018. Just, woo! Everyone loves it. So
what we got here? Story number. We're gonna switch over to our screen here. Story number 3. Vanguard is a bust on Xbox. It's easy to take shots at Activision and Blizzard in their current state, so let's do it. Have you seen any of these on Twitter?
no, because I've just seen actual, like,
Bruh, look at this. Yeah, that seems like a good spawn point. Like, what is happening?
dude, when will this company give up making these games? Like, when are we gonna go 1 year without Call of Duty?
They make too much. They're Madden at this point. They just print money. And this is actually something I haven't really taken in consideration. Going back to Wolverine real quick, and actually another thing I haven't really taken into consideration is like like yeah, they announced Wolverine as a CG trailer, and they didn't even slap a window on it, and they said it is very early in development. So a lot of people are like like, why are you announcing this so soon? I wonder how much Disney had to do with that. I mean, how Disney does their phases. They'll lay out every movie that's coming out for the next 10 years. So
Yeah.
is it any real shocker that they announced this? I wonder how much pull they had on that
Well,
one.
I figured that I know like Disney owns Marvel, but the same thing with like the Venom movies is that like this is Sony's Marvel property,
Yeah. And
not
then
Disney.
also another thing that I've Call of Duty being best-selling game, every time a Call of Duty comes out, that Call of Duty is one of the best-selling games every month throughout the whole year until the next Call of Duty comes out. And Call of Duty is an M-rated game. So like I wonder if like, maybe Disney's having sort of a shift in mind about
Most
R-rated and T.
most games released now are rated mature.
Well, not only
Like,
that, also most games I can't imagine are bought physically. Like,
right.
and then also, if a kid really wanted the game that bad and he couldn't get his dad's credit card to go and put it in the system and get the game, he could go to GameStop, just buy cards to buy the game online.
Right, dude. I remember never forget going and trying to get Manhunt 2 for my PSP, and the guy told my grandma, "Are you sure you want to
You
buy
know
him
what you're
this
about to buy, this
game?"
kid? Yeah.
And I was like, I never forget. I go, "Don't listen to this asshole." I got it.
Yeah, look at that gun. Like, what?
I don't even want to like to the next story. We're wasting too much time at Call of Duty. It doesn't. It should never get the time of day anymore.
I agree with you, sir. But hey, the next Call of Duty is confirmed to be Modern Warfare 2, so yay. I don't know.
Up in the air because it's supposed to be like Narcos. So,
Really? That'd be
you didn't see that? Even the code name for it is like cartel.
ugh.
Yeah, so
I don't know how that one's gonna I don't know really how well that one's gonna do.
because
It's
everyone's
definitely
gonna
gonna
be
do
like,
white America and conservatives are gonna love that. You just killing a bunch of fucking Mexican people and South Americans.
I'm like, if they wanted to like make a big wave, they just redo Modern Warfare 2's multiplayer. The thing that the real fans have been asking about for years. And I know it sounds dumb, but how popular was COD 4 remastered? I bought that shit and I ate that shit up and I loved it.
Did
Every
you?
bit of it. Oh, I loved it.
Because I was about to
It
say I have no idea how popular that was.
well, because everyone was so sick of like what was coming out, and everyone's like, "Oh, you mean like COD 4 and the multiplayer's remastered?" And they're
Yeah.
like, "Yeah." And I was like, "All right, I'll go through 10 prestiges again." True it, and I did.
All right. And the last bit we got here is a little bit of a long one. We got God of War Ragnarok is going to wrap up the Norse saga. To give more context as to why Sony Santa Monica Studios is going to wrap up the Norse saga, game writer and former director Cory Barlog and new director Eric Williams spoke with God of War theorist and YouTube channel Captain Kuba about the decision to wrap up the Norse story in 2 games. Barlog explained Sony Santa Monica Studios didn't want players to have to wait 15 years to experience a trilogy. And he says in quotes, it's in quotes for a while here. I think one of the most important reasons is the first game took 5 years, and the second game, I don't know how long it's going to take, but I'm just going to throw out that it's going to take close to a similar time to do this right. And then if you think, wow, a third one in that same amount of time, we're talking a span of close to 15 years of a single story, and I feel like that's just too stretched out. He added, I feel like we're asking too much to say the actual completion of that story taking that long just feels too long. And given sort of where the team was at and where Eric was at with what he wanted to do, I was like, look, I think we could actually do this all in the second story. Because most of what we're trying to do from the beginning was tell something about Kratos and Atreus. That the core of the story's engine is really the relationship between these two characters, and the complexity radiates out like ripples in a pond. And we could make it an ocean and make those ripples go for thousands of miles, but is that necessary and is that beneficial? Or are we feeling like it's just spreading it too far apart, the ripples get too far apart, and you sort of lose the plot a little bit? Also, reports of the sequel being around 40 hours. Jay, how
Well,
does that make you?
here's my I make that I have to agree with this guy
100%.
because too many games do that. And we're gonna end up forgetting about it. And like one thing, me, you can't have a Norse story and name the game Ragnarok and not have it end.
For sure.
Because if anyone knows anything about the Norse, is that Ragnarok meant the end
Yeah.
of everything. So
Hell, anyone who's seen the MCU knows
right,
literally knows what Ragnarok is,
right.
unfortunately.
So you can't have a game named that and not have it end. And plus, we still got a Christian god to kill, so we need to get into that one.
That'd be awesome.
That would be sick.
No, I'm suspecting, well, in the first game, Mimir opens up the idea that you live in the world that you live in. The reason why Kratos was able to go from Greek mythology to Norse mythology is because that's the world they live in. Mimir says, if he was to go to Scotland, he'd be dealing with Scottish mythology. If he went to Egypt, he'd be dealing with Egyptian mythology. And that's where I think they're going next, is Egypt. Because they also say the end of the God of War Norse saga. So they're not saying the end of God of War. They're just saying the end of the Norse saga. And I do think this will be able to, 40 hours, that's more than double the length of the first game. I honestly think that might be too long. It depends on just the pacing of the game and how it works out. And I think they're going to do Egyptian because Tyr in the trailer and his character poster, he has Egyptian hieroglyphs tattooed on his arm. So I think that's a pretty solid sign of something. And I don't know, dude. I'm really excited for this game. I'm just, I'm waiting. I'm waiting for the excitement to really begin. Once we get a release date, once we see a little gameplay demo, maybe its own PlayStation State of Play, like a little 15-minute long thing dedicated to it, like we got from Horizon back in July, that's when my excitement's really gonna kick in. As of right now, can't fucking wait for the game. And
Imagine if they release it on 7/10. They released it on 4/20, the first one.
yeah, that's a good point. But like they got a lot of story to tell. Personally, like after you finally play the first game, you're gonna see that they have a lot of story to tell.
Dude, here's my thing, like the reason why I haven't played it yet, not because I never wanted to. I was well over and done with the PS4 before that game even came out.
For sure.
You catch my drift, except Spider-Man.
Yeah. And then even then, like, I don't know how you went back to 30 FPS
Neither
for
did
Spider-Man.
I.
Dude,
Just to play Spider-Man, that's why.
I cannot do 30 FPS anymore. It
awful.
is weird. Like
it looks like shit. It gives me motion sickness.
I used to be like, what's the difference? I was like, all of our movies are shot in like 24 FPS, so what's the big deal? And then just seeing how like it visually looks better. That was something I never really took into consideration, was how much the smoothness improves how the game looks. Like particle effects in God of War. Oh my god.
I recently tried going back to The Witcher and Skyrim on the PS4. No. There's
Yeah.
like
No dice,
an input
Rice.
delay.
For sure.
There's a straight up input delay
Yeah.
on turning and moving, and it's disgusting. It's disgusting. Never.
All right. So that wraps up our news. We got closing topic here for you. Our closing topic is going to be licensed games that we want to see from licensed properties such as Disney, Marvel, DC, Warner Brothers, whatever you want. You know, that's what we're going to be talking about. And I am excited for this topic because my list could honestly be endless. There was something I wanted. Oh yeah. And then but before we get into that topic, I have our E3 score and PlayStation Showcase scores all wrapped up. So we're going to go over that when we come back. So just hang out. I'll be in the chat. We're just going to take a quick little 5-minute break, go to the bathroom and smoke a cigarette. I'll be in the chat hanging out. We'll be right back. We are back with our closing topic and E3 PlayStation Showcase results. If you've been with us back in June, we did some E3 predictions that we tallied up some scores for which ones we got right. And then we also included PlayStation Showcase in that, along with Gamescom Opening Night Live. Anything announced between E3 June 7th, I think it was, June 11th, something like that, and September 9th was a PlayStation Showcase. Anything announced between those dates, we got some sort of point for. So let me just run through the scores real quick. Let me see here. I got, let's see. I have 1.5. I have 1.5 points. Jay, you got 3.
Yeah.
So that's to sum up. Well, that's summing up Gamescom through E3. You got 0 for Skate 4 as shown. You got 0.5 for God of War Ragnarok gameplay with a delay. Unfortunately, I gave you a 0.5 for the gameplay because it wasn't really gameplay. It was a gameplay trailer. I gave you a little credit for that one. Just a sliver of Indiana Jones. You got 0. Red Dead Redemption Remaster tease 0. We had a sexy gameplay demo of Stalker 2. I don't know why I only gave you 0.5. Oh, wait, gameplay demo, because we got a gameplay trailer. Okay, yeah, you got 0.5 for that. Elder Scrolls will not be present. Easy win for you right there. You got 1. SOCOM 0. Battle State will show off Streets of Tarkov map. You got 1 for that. Extensive
Game is
in-depth.
hot doo-doo trash right now, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Damn.
like a lot of the big creators of Tarkov are stepping away right now.
Same, shame. And then you got an extensive in-depth Battlefield demo. We had basically an entire EA showcase dedicated to the Battlefield, so you got a point for that. Warner Brothers will show off Harry Potter game. You got 0. So you got 3 points in total. And then for my predictions, I went Hideo shows up on Microsoft's showcase. That's 0. Super Mario Strikers for Switch is announced. That's 0. Final Fantasy 4, 5, and 6 remastered get shown. Got a point for that. Fable gets gameplay shown. Got a 0. Beyond Good and Evil 2. What a poor prediction on my end. Finally gets official game reveal. That's a 0. Halo Infinite gets a very impressive multiplayer demo with a November 12th release. If I didn't slap that November on there, I would have gotten a full point, so that's only 0.5. Switch is called the Switch Pro is called the Super Nintendo Switch. That's a 0. BioShock 4 is teased. That's a 0. Final Fantasy 16 gets release window. That's a 0. And Starfield is neither confirmed nor denied being an exclusive. That's a 0. So not doing too hot for me. Let's see if I pull through with the PlayStation ones. I have not added these yet. Gran Turismo. This is starting with me. Gran Turismo gameplay and release date. So I'm going to get 0.5 for that one because we got a gameplay trailer and so no gameplay, but we got a release date. Horizon multiplayer trailer, 0. Blue Point is acquired, 0. The Last of Us 2 Factions looks incredible, 0. Ends with God of War Ragnarok gameplay trailer release window. That's a 1. So that brings me to 2.5. So you win nonetheless. Oh, wait, no. That, what is that? That's 2. No, so that brings me to 3. So we could potentially tie if you get 0. We could tie this one up, Jay.
I do get a 0.
Sony reveals new first-party multiplayer shooter. 0. PSVR 2 reveal. That was confirmed in the blog post. That wasn't going to be there. 0. Call of Duty Vanguard trailer with open beta. That's a 0.5. Because there is an open beta, but there wasn't a trailer shown. I don't even know what you're thinking with this one. Ty the Tasmanian.
Yeah, I didn't
Devil.
know.
And then
I was trying to think of what stupid game I put on one of our closing topics, and that was the one. I forgot all about it.
And then Insurgency Sandstorm, you got 0. So Jay, you beat me by 0.5, you son of a bitch.
Yeah.
God damn it. Well, hopefully the Game Awards this year, we can start a new predictions, and we'll see what happens with that one. But back to our closing topic of licensed games. Jay, we each made a list here of 5 games that we want to see that are licensed properties that we want to see turned into games, with the likes of KOTOR coming back, Wolverine being announced, all these other Marvel games, Ubisoft working on some Star Wars properties, Indiana Jones. It sounds like licensed games are starting to make a little bit of a comeback. So why don't we go ahead and list some of the ones we want to see?
Some of mine are a little different. But I see a lot of yours are Marvel.
Yeah, I was so fixated on Marvel that I kind of got lost in it.
All right, well, I'm going to hit you with one that would be a remake. That was probably one of the best licensed games ever made. Simpsons Hit and Run.
That's a remake everyone has been wanting for a really long time.
It would be an amazing remake, and they'd make so much damn money. That was one of the best games I've ever played. As a kid. And I played it a couple of years ago on the PC too, on a cracked, weird copy of it that I found for free. And yeah, I played through it again. It was fun as hell. But yeah, that's my first one. Simpsons Hit and Run. Not just a Simpsons game. It's got to be that one.
How do you want it to look? Do you still want it to have that weird 3D, or do you want them to kind of do something? I don't know what you would do with it. I feel like you kind of have to do 3D in some way. But
3D, but not as crudely 2003.
Yeah, kind of like how Destroy All Humans looks now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Really detailed. The
Yeah.
best part about that game were the gags that you find.
Yeah.
You interact with the environment and stuff. That'd be a good game to replay. That honestly one of the best licensed games ever made, if I do say so myself.
So yeah, another reason why I stuck with a lot of Marvel is just because I feel like there's just a lot of original stuff in my mind that you could do with all the Marvel properties. But my 5th one isn't Marvel. It's Warner Brothers, actually. It's Lord of the Rings. Like you said, Simpsons, Hit and Run, again, the best. But all of those Simpson games from the early 2000s were dope.
Road Rage, dude, was fun as hell to play with 4 people.
Yeah, another licensed property games that I loved back in the day were all the Lord of the Rings RPGs. And I feel like those games are just ripe for Shadows of War. I have on I own it. I just never got to it because of all the microtransaction, fuckery with the Nemesis system at launch. If I remember correctly, they patched, all that shit out. But it just seemed like it was such a decline from the first game. Did you play Shadow
of Mordor?
Yes.
No, but that were like, dude, even because I'm not a really big shocker. I love fantasy, but I can never get into Lord of the Rings at all.
That's
Like
surprising.
at all. Like I
It's
tried watching the first movie and I it's probably different now. Maybe
I
that
was about
was
to say
like
try it out now because it is literally D&D the movie.
I know, I well
You got your
D&D
you
is
got your
based off of
dwarf, you
that.
got your wizard, you got your halfling or your hobbit in Lord of the Rings.
Yeah,
Um,
they're called halflings in D&D because they got
licensing issues.
trouble.
Yeah. In about another 100 years they'll be able to use hobbit because that's what it is with orc. It's like I can't remember what the term is. Um, open domain or something like that. I can't remember. But yeah, I mean those games, those worlds, I feel like they are just ripe for video games and an RPG where I don't know, maybe you create your own guy and then he joins the party. You like recruit whichever party members you want, like Gendry or uh I don't know anyone else. I don't know why. Gendry just comes to my mind because he'd be the first person I'd want. Um, and my axe. I can't. Yeah, no. And that there actually was a Middle Earth game that was in the GeForce Now leak. I don't know what extent that is. That could just be a third, Middle Earth game. Third Shadows game. But whatever, if there is ever a Middle Earth RPG that comes out, I want that Nemesis system still. That shit was so unique and so awesome, and I want someone to recreate that shit so bad, but they have that license or they have that like they own the rights to do that, the Nemesis system. So someone would have to create the same thing but change it differently enough, but I don't know. Too complicated for my head. I would just love for a new Middle Earth game. But what's another one you got for me?
Um I want Quentin Tarantino to write a game, but like a Telltale game or like an Until Dawn.
Okay.
Like in my opinion, he's one of the greatest screenplay and film writers of all time, and I like his taste for violence. And I feel like all of his not all of his movies can be a game. Like I would not play a Pulp Fiction game,
There
but
was a
like
Reservoir Dogs game.
I know, don't yeah, like like I but like just like a game with his writing, but like a writing with like choice. Like different outcomes and different endings, and like I like how he like what he does with timelines. Just like imagine a Tarantino written game, like an
For sure.
original. And I know that's not exactly a licensed game, but like it was one of the first things that came to my head was like, dude, if Tarantino wrote a game, that'd be sick. That'd be straight up the bee's knees.
Oh yeah, I'd play it. Oh god. My next one, Ninja Theory. They're the ones who are working on what is it? Hellblade, Senua's Sacrifice. Did you play Hellblade?
Like 5 minutes of it.
God.
I was about to have an anxiety attack.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that game was literally I was like, I'm trying to relax. And it's
No, that
this
game has zero chill. Uh, that's another Xbox game that had CGI trailer, but that trailer got me hyped as shit because I know what Hellblade is. This looks like it's massively expanding on what Hellblade is, and it is hands down the most metal satanic trailer that has ever existed. There is like no trailer that is more metal or angry or satanic than that trailer. It's fucking awesome. Um, so yeah, I want them to do a Doctor Strange game. I feel like they could do a lot of just I don't know with Doctor Strange. There's a lot of particle effects and a lot of mind shit. So I feel like they could really, really do some fucking wild visuals with that. Because yeah, that's the other thing that Doctor Strange is it is a visual masterpiece. Like you could just pause that movie at like any frame and that could be your background. So for them to work on a Ninja Theory game, or for Ninja Theory to work on a Doctor Strange game, I think that could do a really, really deep story. And I think that they'd also be able to knock off some insane combat too. I think they could do something sick with Doctor Strange. On to you. Passing it back.
Passing it back. My favorite horror movie villain, Leatherface. I'd like to see them make a Texas Chainsaw like Friday the 13th style game. I know like there's like a leak that they were working on something like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we talked about it
Oh,
like
yeah, we
2 weeks
did.
ago. But like I I know a lot of people could be like, "Well, why not like Nightmare on Elm Street or Halloween?" I'm like, "Yeah, those would be cool, but this is my favorite one, so that's why I picked it." You know,
Yeah.
and like I thought Friday the 13th was cool and like the setting's cool, but like the thing about that game was like there's one setting which if you have and you know how they have all the different Jasons that you could play as?
Yeah, you could do all the different.
Like imagine doing all the different leather faces
Who's the
and
dude
then
in the second Texas Chainsaw Massacre? The fucking crazy guy. What
chop
is he?
chop.
Yeah.
Lick my plate, you dog, Nick.
Yeah, you could have him. You could have him.
Yeah,
You could do some sort of. You could do some like I don't know, almost PvP style thing where you have multiple villains.
right.
Where like maybe one dude plays the old guy with no legs in the wheelchair, and all he can do is notify people. Like he's kind of just like the watchman and the spotter.
Or that'd be cool if they had him in randomly generated spots, and when you found him, it just that alerted
Yeah.
everything. But just like I don't know if you've seen the original
Yeah.
Reese, like in the past 10 years.
Yeah. No. Yeah. No. For sure.
But the score, which isn't even really a score, it's just a bunch of noise, but sets that tone. Like
I remember there being
that,
something crazy about the first. Like, isn't there no blood in the first Texas Chainsaw Massacre? Or there's something
there's
weird like that.
there's blood, but not what you'd think. Because it was the first it
Was there?
started the masked killer. It
Yeah.
was
Was
the
there no
first one.
visual violence? Maybe that was
No,
it.
none.
Okay, that was it then. That's what I'm
There's only
thinking of.
one part, and it's when Leatherface gets hit in the head, and he
Yeah.
falls and cuts his leg. Which, fun fact, actor that played Leatherface, rest in peace, Gunnar Hansen. When they filmed that scene, and this is why I like the original so much, is that the New Line remake, they had 250 chainsaws for production, right?
Yeah.
For the first movie in 1974, they had one real chainsaw, and that's it. To film that scene, they put a sheet of metal on his leg, and they put a big, like, uh, tomahawk ribeye, raw ribeye steak under his pants. And when the chainsaw went through, it went right through the meat super fast and started heating up that plate. And
Oh man.
his screams in the movie are his actual screams of his leg burning.
Oh my god.
Like all the bones in that movie were imported from like overseas. Like
That's
the human and so like apparently like they were filming in the middle of Texas in the summer and it was like 120 degrees out and in that house they filmed the dinner scene in the daytime with the curtains blacked and it was like 150 degrees in there and all this decaying shit and people were actually throwing up. And that scene when he cuts her finger and sticks it in the grandpa's mouth, that was like the 13th take. And he was, and like the dude that played Leatherface was getting so fed up, he took the safety tape off the knife and sliced her finger open and stuck it in his mouth. And that was the final take.
oh my god.
So, like, but like the thing that movie does great is off screen violence. You never see it, but your imagination just goes wild. Like, you never see him turning her friends into meat. But when they're sitting at the table eating it, you can only imagine, like, oh my god, there's Jerry on the plate.
Now, do you
Like,
want this?
straight up.
You say like Friday the 13th style, so you do want it to be like an asymmetric style multiplayer. Would you want any kind of single player aspect to it? I don't even know what you would do with that, really.
That's what I mean. There's no, like, what?
I
Kill
mean,
4 kids? Cool.
yeah, play one
You
of
know
the
what I
kids who
mean?
escapes. You could do like you could do like you could do like
You could do it like
one can
Outlast.
well, I mean, you could do like one campaign from like each perspective. Like the campaign's only like, 3 hours long, but there's a campaign where you play as Leatherface and you see it from his side, and then there's a campaign where you play as whomever and you see it from their side. That could be cool.
There's a lot of possibilities. If they did it like Outlast, that'd be cool. Can't fight back. You're just one person getting chased around this property, trying to get off, and you just keep getting found.
Yeah.
There's possibilities for these games.
All
So
right.
Dead by Daylight sucks.
Let me see here. All right. I want Blade. I want Arcane to make a Blade game.
Didn't
So,
they make a Blade game?
huh?
They made a Blade game.
Arcane?
No.
Oh, I was
No.
about to like just the royal they. Yeah. I don't remember that at all. But I mean there was it Arcane, uh they've done Dishonored, so they're and now Deathloop, so they're really good at that, sleeking along rooftops and like, jumping through windows and first
Sorry. They did the first Blade game came out on PlayStation in 2000.
Okay. That's a bit dated.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, but they're really good with hand-to-hand combat in Arcane. They're like Dishonored and Deathloop, the hand-to-hand combat feels really good. It's really bloody and violent. They're now doing Redfall, so they're doing all this research and work on zombies or not zombies, vampires, and doing all those studies. So I think they could do a fucking awesome Blade game. Just like a first person Blade game. Middle of the night, you're running along, the side of a rooftop. You see a fucking, I don't know, vampire in an alleyway, and you just jump down, pull out your katana, and I don't know, fucking
Yeah.
Far
chop
Cry that
Kiefer
bitch.
Sutherland's head off. Lost
um,
Boys.
but yeah, no, I'm mainly blasting through these three so I could get to my top two because those are the ones that I really want. But yeah, why don't you hit me with you got two more, it looks like. Yeah, we each got two more.
Yeah, I got 2 more. I'm gonna go with this one that I put on probably one of our first closing topics. That Purge multiplayer game.
Oh yeah, I don't even remember what we were talking about for that
But
one.
I think I got a better idea now. And that's like, it is like a battle royale. But instead of you going and loot and stuff, you pre-make, like, there's no set squad. There's no like solos, duos. It's just like open-ended. Like, oh, you could be 1 person or 10. And you get your gangs together and your starting location and your hideout and your gadgets and your look beforehand. And then you go out on the town. Or you stay and you can choose to be a neutral party and protect your property type deal.
It'd be kind of cool if it was almost like a Tarkov situation where the purge night starts and you have this massive open city, and yeah, you can it's almost like Division, to where like, yeah, you could link up with your buddies, and there's, help me, there's, like the convenience store dude down the street, he's, being attacked, and then you can go and help him kill those guys, get their loot, and then, when the, day when the purge is ending, then you could go back to your place and drop off all your loot. Maybe there's some sort of break-in system, in the sense of, okay, this is your location, that's where all your loot's stored. The next run you go out, the next purge you do, if you don't barricade your place enough, people can break into your place and steal your loot. You know,
Or it'd be cool if they just like these GTA RP servers just did a purge event.
really?
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
I'd watch the shit out of that. I saw No Pixel when they did the nuke going off and I freaking out, and then the nuke wiped the city, and that's how they wiped the server that day. And like, or the zombies, they did one with zombies, and like a zombie apocalypse broke out, and like they were like they like four dudes ended up stealing like a fire engine and like running over zombies and shit. It was pretty cool. But yeah, dude, The Purge, man, underrated movie. I don't know why it
Did
gets
you
so
ever see
much hate.
Did you see the most recent one?
No, because it was only in theaters. Couldn't
Yes.
stream it
Yeah.
anywhere.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you're able to stream it anywhere now. I really wanted to see it.
Yeah, I'll probably watch that one when it comes out. But my second to last licensed game I want to see was debatably the first one, but that first one is just undeniable. Those two go together like peanut butter and jelly. So yeah, Insomniac, I hate to put more on their plate, but they're doing Spider-Man, Spider-Man Miles Morales, now Wolverine. It's clear that they are setting up their own exclusive licensed MGU, Marvel Gaming Universe. And if you're familiar with 2018 Spider-Man, you'll remember that one of the Easter eggs was, or not one of the Easter eggs, but one of the collectibles was going around the city and taking photos of a lot of locations. And one of those locations was Nelson Murdoch. And I think it would be awesome if after Wolverine we get a Daredevil game. And like I'm thinking Daredevil, like he's got exploration, like he's got uh you
Like
know,
Ben Affleck level, like he can scale a building.
I mean even Charlie Cox level. Charlie Cox is doing that shit.
Or like Spider-Man 1 on the PS1 where
I mean
Daredevil
he's
just
got his
shot a red
yeah, he's got his thing.
thing.
That is canon. You know, he does do that. He did that in the Netflix series.
I just loved
Um
how in that game, because it was PS1, they just shot out of their fist. Like,
yeah. But like I want, but like he's got, you know, movement and traversal down, but not to the degree of Spider-Man. So what I would want is, you know, Hell's Kitchen is in the Spider-Man game, but take that, blow it up, make it more explorable, and do like a Yakuza style thing where it's this, you know, it's just Hell's Kitchen, but it is dense. And there's a lot for you to do there. And then, yeah, you can fucking parkour around the whole city, do all of that. And what I'm leading to is I kind of got two mashed up here, is I want them to do a Daredevil game so that they could eventually build to a team up game where it's Daredevil, Spider-Man, and Wolverine. Like, what I'm thinking, just what's going through my mind is Spider-Man beats Wolverine. Like something happens to where Wolverine is now in Spider-Man's radar. They're not acquainted yet. Spider-Man beats Wolverine, gets him in jail. Wolverine needs a lawyer, and he gets Nelson and Murdoch. Murdoch, Matt Murdock, Daredevil. He hears Logan out. They have a, they have a connection. They're with one another. Daredevil goes out, links up with Spidey. He's like, "Hey, you don't know this dude. Like, this dude's actually on the right side." And then yeah, you do and then there's a greater threat. I don't know what it is. Kingpin. The Kingpin is closely associated with two out of those three people. So yeah, do that. I think that would, God, I want that so badly.
honorable mention, real fast, that just popped in my head that I don't know why I thought about. Depending on how dark Wolverine gets, I want a new Deadpool game.
Who do you want to see? Anyone specifically you want to see make it?
Insomniac. Because, like, doesn't Sony have, like, a nice hold on Deadpool as it is? Or is that officially, like,
That's owned by
Disney?
Disney.
Disney is now...
Deadpool is owned by Fox.
God,
And
fuck
Disney bought
Fox.
Fox.
But Yeah, that's just an honorable mention. I'd like to see a new Deadpool game. I didn't play that other one, the last one that came out.
Yeah, it was
I
kind of
don't know,
just yeah, it was kind of
man.
just whatever.
Like, I don't know. I'd like to see like maybe like a Miles Morales length Marvel kills the MCU.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
that'd be fun.
that was a great series.
Yeah.
Like literally just catches Spider-Man in the middle of the street in front of everyone, and there's like kids like Spider-Man, and he just shoots him in the face.
Just puts the gun right under his chin.
All
Um,
right, but anyway,
yeah, what's your final one?
my final one is a Rick and Morty platformer.
Whoo.
Spicy. And you know it could happen. And you know it would work.
Yeah, I mean, there's even a studio for it, Squanch Studios. They what was it? They just did. What was the last one they did? Trover, Trover's something like that. It was a VR game. They do a lot of VR games that are very, very, very successful, and they honestly make me want a VR because some of them look fucking hilarious.
I want
Um,
to squanch your family.
But
Oh,
yeah, I
God.
mean, I hate to give Fortnite credit, but Rick Sanchez and I think Morty are playable in Fortnite, and I like how I like how they look visually. I think they have this like weird cell shading, like picture like Simpsons Hit and Run era characters, but cell shaded to like modern day.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think that could look really good. And yeah, there's even a studio for it. I don't know why they haven't really done that yet.
I don't know, because there's like maybe they just have so many ideas for a game that they haven't made a game.
Yeah,
Because
maybe
like with Rick and
they're doing what they want to do. Maybe they just don't want to
like
do a Rick and Morty game
you can I right. I mean, but you can do a like Rick and Morty into the multiverse or whatever. Like
for sure.
you
There
can do like
actually
a ripped apart type deal with the portal gun.
there was I think they did actually do a Rick and Morty multiverse game on VR. I mean, it might not even
They
be a
did do a
full.
VR game.
I don't even. It might just be like one of those VR experiences, like that Batman Arkham one was. Um, like I don't know if it was a full fledged game, but I'm pretty sure that they do have like something like that
That's where the
exists.
goofy songs came from. Like a lot of the goofy songs in the show, they made
Yeah.
them record like for Morty's iPod in the game, and that's where Get Schwifty came from. Like I
Uh,
don't know if you know that episode was built around that song, just as an excuse to get that song into an episode. Or Terry Folds, grab my Terry Folds, lick my 40 flaps. Love it.
all right. And then my final game. I know this one's just gonna prop your boner right up. The Punisher. I want that to be made by the Coalition. The guys who've done Gears of War since the start. I think these two go together like PB and J. You do a linear, over the shoulder, third person shooter where you play Frank Castle, and it is just bloody and
You
gruesome and fun.
you get interrogations and executions like the old one.
For sure. Like replace the chainsaw with just like a combat knife. And like when you get up on someone, instead of, chainsawing them, you fucking pull out your combat knife and you stab them like 15 times. You just come up with 5 different animations of where you just brutally stab this dude. Uh,
Dude,
do the
I
thing,
just
do the thing where, there in Gears 2, you could have the chainsaws clash. Uh, and you could like kind of like fight through it. Do that where you could do some sort of hand to hand combat thing, some CQC style shit.
dude, I just have fond memories of the first Punisher game, like taking human shields, and then to execute, you take the guy and you shove a grenade in his mouth and you kick him across the room.
Dude,
Or
if
when
the coalition was to announce, I mean, and honestly, if they were announced that they were working on anything besides Gears of War, I would be super hyped. But if they came out and said that they were doing a Punisher game, dude, dude, come on. I mean, like, I see it now. Like, just slim down Marcus Phoenix, give him some more darker hair, throw the fucking skull on his chest, and give the dude dual M60s in a big trench coat. Let's go, man.
dude, I'm down. I'm down for that. I'm also down for them to just like re-release the original one on PC.
I mean, there's just again, I do not believe that Marvel either went to Xbox or either didn't go to Xbox and offer them any kind of game or property exclusivity, but go to everyone else and offer them exclusivity, or they did go to Microsoft and offered them exclusivity and Xbox said no. Like I don't
Like, we
believe
have
either of those
Bethesda.
things.
We have Bethesda, okay.
Like,
We
I
have
don't
an
know.
Indiana Jones game that's not going to come out for another 10 years.
I'm curious to see how that one does.
Me too. Like, I want to know. It can't be first person. Absolutely not.
I think it might be. And
Fuck that, dude.
done well, I think it could be cool.
No.
Yeah.
No. It's got to have like Arkham style. I want like Mad Max.
Really?
Melee. I want it to be like every other Indiana Jones game I played. I played them all. Back to the Infernal Machine.
See,
On
I'm thinking more
N64.
so Uncharted 4, but first person. To where like you're not really focusing on
But
killing
here's
all
the
the people on the map as more so as you're focusing on getting from point A to point B. So you kind of just run. And like you're fucking running and gunning and then you whip and pull someone down, you punch a Nazi in the
but
face.
but that's the thing is that like Indiana Jones is still a movie series that's built on set pieces.
Yeah, which
So
I
like first person, I just feel like for Indiana Jones, like if I can't even see his goddamn hat,
I
like
feel you on that.
every other Indiana Jones before that had a hat mechanic where your hat falls off and you got to pick it up.
I
Red
feel
Dead
like
didn't do it first.
you want to. I mean, I know that Tomb Raider and Uncharted are both built off of the back of Indiana Jones, but how do you do an Indiana Jones game that unfortunately isn't just a Tomb Raider or an Uncharted game? More realistically, an Uncharted game. Um, and I don't know how you do that. Besides, I don't know, you're fighting Nazis instead of pirates and you're in first person.
I don't know. The last Indiana Jones game to come out.
But I feel you in not actually physically seeing Indy. Now
And
Machine
and
Game,
don't act like because Harrison Ford is doing an Indiana Jones a new movie.
yeah.
Don't act like he ain't gonna do the voice acting in a game
Oh, he's totally
for a company that could pay him the money
he
to
ain't
do.
doing the voice acting.
You don't think so?
I'll was this episode 24? What's the time? 2:11. Gonna have to shave off 5 minutes here for the little break. Another 4 minutes for the opening. So we'll call it at about 2 hours on episode 24. I will make the bet right now. He is no way in fucking hell is Harrison Ford voice acting his character in Indiana Jones. I see where you're in Wolfenstein were cutscenes. Did you see
Yes.
Blazkowicz in third person?
Yeah.
Okay. Um yeah,
Which
I
he
don't
was a
know.
good BJ. I loved BJ and like well, Youngblood sucked.
Yeah.
But
I kind of want to see an Indiana Jones game in first person. I think it could be really
but
fast and the gameplay could be really
but
kinetic.
here's the thing is that like Indiana Jones has one gun, a 6-shooter.
Yeah, that's why it'd be really fast and kinetic. Because
But
you're like,
like but when the game's built around traversal, first person traversal is not really
I mean, like I could see it being like a cross between Mirror's Edge and Uncharted, where like with Mirror's Edge, like it's not about killing everyone on the map; it's about getting to your destination. So
man,
yeah, like you'll
I'm
just
just like I think I'm just hanging too far on to like the Indiana Jones games that I've played and loved.
in my mind right now, I see in first person me whipping a gun out of a Nazi's hands and pulling it back and catching it and then lighting them all up. Like I see that in my mind right now happening in first person.
In my mind, I'm seeing like an Uncharted, like I'm jumping from truck to truck onto a guy's horse, ripping him off the horse, jumping back
Yeah,
onto
don't get me
another
wrong, that'd be
truck.
really cool, but that's just Uncharted 3 when you're in the desert, when you're jumping horse to horse.
Right, right.
So I just feel like they got to do something to differentiate themselves from the adventure games that they inspired, and I don't really know how you do that.
Have you played The Emperor's Tomb
No,
on the PS2?
no, I've never been an Indiana Jones fan my entire life.
It's better than Star Wars, dude. You come on.
That's fine. I think Lord of the Rings is. I think a lot of stuff's better than Star Wars.
Right, but I'm just saying on that scale, like Lucasfilm, I'm one. I will take that to the grave. Indiana Jones is better than Star Wars, 100%.
All right, let's not
But
get
like,
into this argument. Let's wrap up the show. We've been going forever now.
hey man, that just means like we're in the moment. We're having. I mean, at least I'm having a good time.
Hell yeah, man.
Usually I'm over here like this. Yeah.
That
So, yeah.
gummy kicked in. Maybe you should start taking more of those. Good call.
Threw me for a loop, dude. Said it was indica.
All right, but you got anything else you want to add here?
Make these games for us.
Especially the Punisher by the Coalition. Come on, you guys.
Yeah, all right. I will agree. Out of any of these games, I would want a Punisher game.
I want specifically I don't care if it's Xbox and PC exclusive. I want the Coalition to do it.
But if they couldn't do it, who else? What's your second pick?
It's got to be someone who got to go back over to Sony. Could you imagine Naughty Dog doing a Punisher game? How fucking violent and grounded and realistic that would look.
What about Remedy? Like Max
Remedy?
Payne 3. But
well, actually, Remedy would probably be good for Doctor Strange. They're super fucking trippy and psychological and do a bunch of weird shit.
Yeah, like
that.
Alan Wake.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that one's cool. Who would you want to see do it besides Coalition? Anyone? Remedy?
Remedy because of Max Payne 3.
Yeah, they could go back to their roots. I wasn't even thinking about that really.
Because they did have like a not bullet time, but you can like in the old Punisher game like jump and shoot, you know?
Yeah.
Kind of deal. But yeah. And then but it has to be like the other Punisher game where it kind of like trickled in some Marvel universe stuff too.
For sure.
Like Iron Man was in it. Kingpin was in it.
Yeah, I forgot Kingpin was in it.
So, yeah, that was like the whole fucking half of the game was Kingpin's like thing. I forgot about that. But anyway, sorry, we can go on forever.
All right, yeah, I was about to say this episode there's been so much we could talk about. It took us an hour just to get to the news this time, but that is going to wrap episode 24. Thank you all for being here. If you missed it, you can head over to the YouTube channel of the same name where the latest episodes are uploaded Sundays at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Sunday. Please like and subscribe. Hit the notification bell to know exactly when we're going live. Please go over to Jay's channel, twitch.tv/LordxHam. Show him some love. Remember, it's September. You don't have to, but you can become a sub for 20% off or gift a sub for 20% off.
I'm going to finally get a little plug in here. If we hit 50 subs this month, we're 10 out of... Yeah. We'll finally unlock the last emote slot, getting brand new set of emotes, and then I'm doing a watch party in my Discord at 50 subs. And we're all going to get together and watch a movie. So, Paul, you're invited.
Oh, fuck yeah, man. God, I want more emotes so badly. It's such bullshit that you can only have three, or you can only have 3, 1 per tier.
Well, 3. Well, now you can have 5.
Wait, can I have more?
You could have total of 7. So you unlock more when you hit 15 subs. You unlock more when you hit 35. So I have 3 tier 1 subs now, emotes, because the highest I think I got was like 38 subs, and 50's the last tier to unlock your last emote slot as an affiliate. So you'll get, I think, 4 emotes, and then 1 tier 2 and 1 tier 3.
All right, I'll have to look into that. I might have some more then. But yeah, you can subscribe for 20% off to either of the channels. You could gift subs for 20% off, or you could just link your Amazon Prime account with Twitch Gaming, and you can make a Twitch Prime Gaming account. And you can gift one sub once a month to any content creator you like, and it really helps out smaller folk like us. We hope you have a nice weekend. We'll see you next week for episode 25. Jesus, Jay. 25 episodes, 25 weeks. What are we doing, man?
I don't know.
We'll talk to you soon. Have a nice weekend. Peace.
Peace out.